Hey guys, so I was teaching class today, and I still haven't seen the full Khabib and Conor fight yet, but my student Pancho here had a really good question about something that I've seen Khabib do, and I know he does really well. So he had a question, and he said that, basically Khabib did a really good job of holding Conor down and bringing his legs out from underneath him. So we'll talk a little bit about what he's doing, and then maybe some options to counter, okay? And so the idea is, once you get the takedown, in order for me to stand back up, okay, I need to get my feet underneath me. I need to get my feet close to my body, or if I'm going to sprawl too, if I want to counter like some type of takedown, like if you grab my legs and you're here, if I can bring my legs back behind me, I can start to get back to my feet, right? And so what Khabib was really good at doing, even if a guy brings his feet in, he's going to catch the feet and he's end up triangling the legs. So at this point, with my legs stretched all the way out here, it's really difficult for me to get my legs back underneath me. And normally what happens is once the ankles are caught all the way out from the body, I can't pull my legs in. So I'm kind of stuck sitting on my butt. And from here, Khabib, usually what I see him do is he works his way up the body. He starts to climb up the body, it starts to get higher. And so one of the options that we have from here, once my feet are caught, if I'm gonna be on my back, is sometimes what I can do is I can try to scoop my hips underneath and bring him on top, right? What that does is it makes I get him a little bit light, so instead of all his weight down here by my legs, right? I can start to rock backwards, and as I rock backwards, what I do is I tighten my core, and I do something like this. I try to get him up, and you can see already he's starting to kind of come up, and he's a little bit light. Sometimes we have the option to sweep from here. It depends. So that's one option I have, is if I throw myself back, but when I throw myself back, I don't do this, okay? When I throw myself back, I also try to bring him with me and make him, bring my knees in a little bit. See, he's still got my legs caught, but I'm able to sweep and start to get underneath. And ideally, I always want to have underhooks. So that's already, even if he starts to base out and get his hands, at least from here, I can start to move, I can sweep him. I start to get a much better position once I start to establish the underhooks. Khabib is really good. If you watch his arm position, he's really good at keeping underhooks, especially from all of his takedowns. You always see him kind of, with his takedowns, double unders, his arms around the waist, picking guys up, dumping them. He's usually always got, even if he goes for the legs, a lot of times he works his way back up to the body and gets his arms around the waist. And that's where you see him dumping and driving guys into the ground, and he's got really good control of the hips and the waist, which is the center of gravity. The other option that we have, so again, he grabs my legs, he's gonna triangle my legs, okay? What happens from here is that he's completely balled up on me. He's using his arms to control my legs, and his legs are kind of tight, controlling my legs. And so right now, sometimes if it can be difficult to lift, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna throw my hands and put my hip. And so what that does is, because he doesn't have base, because he's not based out on his arms, it's really easy to roll him if I roll. He's so attached to my legs, he's so basically locked onto my legs, that when I roll, he's gotta go with me, okay? So one more time, he's here. And we do this technique a lot from like basically a double leg grab when guys are passing with the double legs. Instead of staying here, I put my hands on the ground and look, my hip. When I lift my hip off the ground, he tends to go. Now, the option for him to stop that is obviously to put his hands on the ground and base out. So from here, if I do this and see, now at least I can start to get underneath his arm, and this already starts to create some problems. I have the underhook now, and from here, if you try to climb up my body or whatever, see, I can sweep him back the other way. But yeah, with his legs kind of tied up on my legs, I have a lot more control. He doesn't have as much base as normal, as being on his toes and being mobile. So that's a really good option. Let's do it from this angle so people can see what's going on with my legs and see what's going on with your base. So here, right? And so that's, which is a really great strategy. Take the legs out. I can't bring my feet back underneath me. I can't get my legs close to me, so it's very difficult for me to stand up. But what you can see is as I turn, see how I lift my hip off the ground? My hip goes up. So it's not just turning. it's not just me, it's not me giving my back and turning like this. When I turn, my hip comes up. I'm actually lifting my hip up, and that's what takes them over. And normally what we'll do is we take them towards the side of their head. Okay? It's a lot harder to take them the other way. It still can be done. It still can be done, but again, see, yeah, it's a lot harder to do it on this side. But if I take them this way, towards the side of his head, sometimes that'll give me the mount. So just turning and really, really engaging my hip. The counter that I used when he based out, which is normal as guys get better at this, when I turn, they base out. I usually like to come underneath the arm and control the arm. From here, I sometimes have an attack. If I can keep my, like a butterfly guard, I can sometimes go for this type of arm bar, you know, which is a reverse arm bar. But it allows me, even if he starts to climb up my body, even if he starts to get higher, it allows me to start to sweep or start to get up because I have the underhook. And so, it was a great question they asked today, and like I said, I still haven't seen the whole fight yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the fight. Probably watch it sometime this week. But I know that was a very, very common situation that was happening, and those are just some options to be able to deal with that. Of course, Khabib is a master at that position, so you know, he's going to have counters to the counters, but that is basically the first step, or the first kind of movement that you can try to use to kind of unwind that, or to create space and get him to base out and get him to open up so that it creates more movement.